สวัสดีค่ะ Welcome to Hot Thai Kitchen. So today I'm going to talk about galangal, which is an herb that is an absolute staple in any Thai home. Now I use this quite often, but a lot of people seem to be confused by it. They have a lot of questions about it. So hopefully today we're going to tackle all of that. And also I have other videos that discuss other Thai ingredients. So if you're interested in learning more, check out the playlist in the description below. So let's get started. So these nubbly guys are galangal, or what we call in Thai ka. So galangal, the part that we use for cooking anyway, is actually just the rhizome of the whole plant. And the plant can grow really, really tall. We grow tons of it at my home in Thailand. A rhizome is actually a type of stem that grows underground. And from the rhizome, the roots and the shoots come out. And you can actually see these little dots here are the places where the roots used to be. So when they harvest this, they cut off all the roots, and then these pink tops, the rest of the plant will come out of this top right here. So we use galangal for its aroma. It has no taste, it's not sweet, it's not sour, it's not salty, but it has a wonderful cooling aroma that reminds me very much of a pine forest. Absolutely love it. You can call this slightly medicinal, but I mean that in like a good way. Like, you know, when you have Vicks on your face and it's refreshing, that's kind of what it reminds me of. So you can use galangal in three major ways. And the first way is to slice it up into thin rounds like this. And you see me do that quite often, and then you throw these into a soup or a broth and let it infuse. But in this form though, as you can see, it's very hard. You can't eat it. So treat it again like a cinnamon stick, let it infuse for a few minutes, and then discard it or just not eat it. Now, if you want to eat it, you can, but you have to chop it down pretty fine. And that way you can eat it, you can mince it if you want to, and you can throw it into salads, add it into dips and whatnot. Now, what's very commonly done is to actually pound this into a paste, such as a curry paste, or you can just make a general herb paste and put it in sausage mix, or, you know, put it in a stir fry or whatever. And for that, you just use the mortar and pestle, which you guys see me do all the time. So it's very versatile, and those are the three different ways that you can use it. So when you store galangal, you can keep this in the fridge, but it doesn't last that long. I find it gets moldy pretty quickly within the week. So if I know I'm not going to use this up within the next few days, I will freeze the rest, and it lasts a really long time in the freezer. So what I do is I slice it up first. And by the way, sometimes it gets really hard, especially if you hit the root part. And the older the galangal, the harder it is. Just sort of change your knife position, and so you're not cutting right through the root bit. You manage. And when you get to the stem part, some people ask, I don't use the stem, but you can sort of go around it, right? Because you don't want to waste all that. Go around it, and you still get slices, and then I throw away just this top part. So once you have these slices, you do not want to freeze them in a pile like this because they'll stick together and it'll be so painful to get them out. So what you want to do is spread them out onto a plate so they're in single layer and not touching each other. You'll obviously fill this up. I put plastic wrap underneath because if you don't, it'll stick to the plate once it's frozen. Like, these things stick to everything once they're frozen, so you gotta be mindful of that. Once these are frozen, gather this and wrap it into a little baggie, and then put it in a freezer bag. Not a sandwich bag, you want a freezer bag that's nice and thick. Now, if you need this to last extra long, say you've got a lot and you think it's gonna last you at least like a couple of months, I would wrap this in foil first before you stick it in the freezer bag, because foil is impermeable to air and it'll make them last even longer. It prolongs the life before it gets freezer burned. Galangal is one of those herbs that's quite hard to find unless you've got a store that stocks a lot of Southeast Asian ingredients like Vietnamese, Thai, Cambodian, things like that. Japanese, Chinese grocery stores tend to not have them. Some people like to say that, oh, we just use ginger. And I'm telling you people, just because they look kind of the same does not make them immediately substitutable, okay? I always say that, sure, go ahead and put ginger in it, but just be prepared. Like, you're getting a very different flavor. Ginger is hot, spicy, it's a different kind of aroma. So I don't consider it a substitute. You're basically just swapping it with a new ingredient, right? However, if you can't find fresh galangal, there are other forms of galangal out there. Frozen is probably your best bet because I find that frozen is it really retains a lot of its original characteristic. This is the frozen galangal that I get at my store. The only thing I don't like about this is they freeze it in big blocks, and now this is hard to work with because it's like rock solid. Right? So if you just need a few slices, it's kind of a pain. So what I would do is don't thaw it all the way before you cut it, because if you let it completely thaw, it'll be kind of mushy. Okay, now I've also found this guy here, which I've actually never used, but I found it at a specialty grocery store and I thought it was pretty interesting. It's galangal paste, which sounds like it would be useful because in this form it just kind of mixes well into a lot of things. And then there's dried, which will work well in soups. It's going to be harder if you need to pound it into a paste because dry galangal is super hard, right? And I find that it does develop a bit of a different flavor once it's dried, but that's okay. If you need to throw it in a tom yum soup, it'll work. Powdered, I have never personally used, so I do question like how much of the galangal flavor is retained in powdered form. If you've used powdered before, let me know in the comments. And that is it. And as always, if you have tips and tricks to share with us, let us know in the comments. And if you've got more questions, reach out to me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or on my website, hotthaikitchen.com. And if you haven't subscribed to the show, definitely do so you don't miss another episode. And I will see you next time for your next delicious Thai meal.